Hi guys, it's Bible Girl, and if you're watching this video, you either A, randomly found it, or it popped up in your subscription box, or, and I really hope this is true, you've clicked a link off of one of my videos where I have discussed the gospel, giving you an invitation to Christ. Now, if you have done this, hooray, and amazing, and I've been very blessed that Christ has used my channel several times over the course of my years on YouTube to help people spiritually, get people back into church, and I've even had someone say they accepted Christ. And I've reflected on this many times and thought, giving the gospel is important, and it is why it happens over and over again on my channel and will continue to, but I need to tell you what happens next, because otherwise I'm not being very helpful and I'm not going to be a part of you growing or allow you to grow if I'm not giving you some steps afterwards. Accepting Christ is fantastic and the first step to everything, because it's new life and you've made your Lord, you're a part of the family, and I just want to tell you how to hook into the family. So there's a few steps. One, I would say get yourself a Bible. You need to start being in the Word of God. Particularly if you're a new Christian, I would say start with one of the Gospels. They're the first 4 books of the New Testament, which is basically the second half of the Bible. It's the part that existed from the Christian viewpoint. The first part is from the Jewish viewpoint previously. And I personally like Luke. Luke and all the rest of the Gospels, again, story of Jesus. What makes Luke cool is the author of Luke also wrote another book right after the Gospels called Acts. They're a 2-part story they'll tell you the story of Christ and also the story of the first believers of Christ. So if I were new, I would suggest reading Luke and then Acts. And a lot of places, a lot of churches and things, if you ask for a Bible, say you want one, be pretty cool about sharing. There's also an organization called Gideon's, and they'll be totally willing to give you one. That's what they do. They're the people that put Bibles in the hotel rooms. 2, very important, you need to find yourself a church. Now, this could be a very daunting task and hard, because if you've never been a Christian or you don't know what to do, it's difficult. My suggestion up front, since you, obviously, if you're very new to Christianity, don't know a lot about different theologies, this and that, if you're living in the United States, non-denominational churches are everywhere. As someone that's not really strict in any theology, for you, as someone new, I would say non-denominational church is safe, and normally they're very, the ones I've been to, kind of a little looser, more comfortable. But again, I live in Southern California, so I guess things are kind of a little different here. I've never really had to dress up for church instead of Easter. I grew up in a Baptist church, and I love my church, but there are so many different kinds of Baptists and so many different things that overarching, I'm going to say non-denominational church may be a safe bet. If there are churches you would like help with finding a place that you don't know if their theology, their thoughts about God are sound or not, since you're new, if you're comfortable, tell me what town you live in a private message or something, and I'll go look online and read statements of faith for you if you want my opinion on that. I would love to help in any way, shape, or form, and always would love to help with comments or private questions or anything like that about your growing. But, like I said, you need to be around people in a church. You need to develop these relationships in the real world. So number 3, my suggestion is join a small group. Other places might call it different things. I've heard core groups, Bible study, accountability groups. There's so many different names, but a small group of Christians, because if you're in a larger church, you're going to need a group of people to help you with that. Just the growing and connecting with this community. And B, you can find groups that are very specific to who you are and make it a lot easier to connect and ask questions in a smaller, safer environment. There are college groups, there are high school groups, there are groups for kids, there are elderly groups, single groups, married groups, young couples. You name it, you can probably find a Christian group out there to help you with that. Particularly, I would suggest probably try to find it in the church you're going to start going to, but if you go to college or something, there's probably a C Crew Campus Crusade there, or something like that can help you out just as well. I did Christian Club for years, and it was really beneficial to me growing up. And the final thing you need to do now that you decide to become a Christian is you need to be baptized. I'm not going to get into the giant crazy discussion that baptism will have, because sometimes we Christians like to argue, and baptism is one of those things that we argue about. But whether you think it's essential for salvation or think it is a symbol, like I grew up believing as a Baptist, almost always Christians are pretty down packed on that. We need to be baptized. It's part of the Great Commission. It's the last thing Christ said before ascending into heaven after the resurrection, after he came back from the dead on Easter. And said, go make disciples and baptize them. So it's a command to be baptized. And you need to do that. Do it with your church, your small group. Find a place where you can do that. And I bet you if you come to some place saying, I need to be baptized, it's going to excite whatever church you go to. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. This is what's next if you've decided to accept Christ. Again, any questions, comments, anything, please don't hesitate. I will get back to you. Alright guys, I love you all. God bless, and have a fantastic day.